Purpose of this video tutorial is to show how to move letters together in order to be laser cut ready. And so I'm going to show how to move those letters using a certain font and a certain word. I'm going to go over here to start and choose my text tool. Click on that, and then out here in the work area, I am going to use the word operations. Okay, I would like to have that bigger. So I'm going to select my pick tool on the side toolbar and grab the lower right corner and make it nice and big so I can see. I'm going to change the font to Seago, I guess that's how you would pronounce it, or Seago script. I'm going to click and drag in this to move it down kind of in the middle in order to work with it there in that regards. So the goal is to move these letters together so they're touching each other and then weld the outer edge so that it's easy for laser cutting. So the first step I'm going to do is click up here on Object, the Object menu, and I'm going to come down here and click on Break Artistic Text. And what that step has done is that now I can move each letter separately away from the rest. I'm going to click the undo button to bring those back. But now every letter has been separated from the other, from each other in the word. So now I'm going to reselect the whole word. So I'm going to click and drag here and draw a selection box around that. The next thing I'll need to do is to go back to the object menu and choose Convert to Curves. And what the advantage of that is I'm going to come over here and select my shape tool, is that I can see now all of the little nodes that make up these the letters in this word. Because I may have to, and I am going to have to move some letters and cut off a part of these, as you'll see here in a moment. So that's the next step. I'm going to go back and choose my pick tool over here in the upper left. I'll zoom in here, and I'm going to start moving this letter O over so that it is touching the letter P. So I'm going to use my right arrow key and just keep nudging that over until it overlaps the other letter, the letter P. While that is selected now, because I want to move that letter along with the P and let it touch the letter E. So I'm going to hold my Shift key down and click somewhere on the letter P so that those two are selected, and nudge that over to where the main part of the P is touching the E. Something like that, we'll say. But now you'll notice that part of that P has gone past the main portion of the E, and this part is going to have to be cut off. And we'll do that here in a moment. So now I'm going to hold my shift key down and select the letter E as well. And we'll move this over so that it overlaps. The main part of the E overlaps the R. Could bring that back a little bit. Let's do it like that. And so I'll be working with this part of the E. Okay, I'm gonna then do the same thing. Again, I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on the R. So all along, all my letters, I have kept the selection of those. And just using my right arrow key to nudge them over so that it touches the next letter. Okay, again, hold the shift key down. I'm clicking on the letter A, and I'm going to move that over so that it's touching the letter T. I could probably leave it, say, like that, where this part of the A is touching the T, but the end of this, the tail end of this part of the A is going to have to be worked on. Or I could move it over further so it would be touching something like that. We'll work with it that way. All right, I'm clicking down here on my scroll bar to slide the scroll to the left. Okay, so now I need to hold my shift key down and click on the T. The T is already touching the I here, so I probably don't need to go too far with that. So, but I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on the T, and I'll maybe just leave it like that for that one, not move it any further. The I is already touching the O, so we could leave that alone, or we could slide the I closer. Let's maybe slide this I a little further. So I'm going to shift and click on the I, and we're going to slide this over. Keep going, keep going. I don't know, maybe something like that. Okay, now the O, we're going to move closer to the N. So I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on the O and slide this over. Maybe make it so the main part of the O is overlapping the N. Let's say we're going to do it that way. And finally, we'll hold my shift key down and click on the N and nudge this over to the S. Let's say we're gonna leave it there. Let's just leave it there. Okay, so I'm using this wheel on my mouse to zoom in and out quickly. And that can be changed in the settings under File, we could go here to, let's see, where is that? Hmm. The choice for that option is under the Tools menu, Options, and over here on the left side, if you click the plus beside Workspace, there's a choice here that says Display. And then over here in the right side of the different features, there's a choice here that says Default Action for Mouse Wheel. And I have mine on Zoom instead of Scroll. So that's how you can make that change. I'll click OK here, and that's on my controlling my mouse wheel. I can zoom in and out quickly, which I like. However, sometimes then if I want to scroll, I have to go over here to the scroll bars, either the one on the right or the one at the bottom. Okay, back to our project here. The next thing I need to do now is start working on those extra tail pieces of the letters that are overlapping and I don't want to be included in the weld procedure. So I am going to take out the color. So I want to see just the outline of the text at the moment. Over here on the right side, the X above my color bar, I'm going to click on the X, which takes away all, whoops, I forgot to select the S. So I'm going to undo that and come back over here, hold my Shift key down and click on my letter S. And now I'm going to go back here and click the X button. The words disappear, but now the next step I need to do is turn on a hairline. A hairline shows me then the outline of the letters and how they are overlapping. So some of the parts of the overlap I need for the weld process, but there's some parts here like on the letter P that I don't. So I'm going to now deselect the text and I'm going to zoom back in here and work on the letter P. Now, what I wanted to do is when I weld this, I want this part welded to the E, and so I want the line to come here and then follow the E around and so on. This part's okay, but this part that's out of bounds of the E has to go away. I need to keep that, though, within the space of the width of the E. I just need to get rid of this extra space. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go over here first to select my shape tool. And I'm going to then draw a lasso around these nodes that I need to get rid of. So I'm going to start kind of here. I'm trying to go as high as those are. And I'm going to click over and then come down and grab all of those nodes right there. The next step is I want it to get rid of them. The easy way is to then first break that curve. So there's a button up here in this toolbar. When I click on it, it changes like that. And now I want to get rid of them. So I come over here to the minus button, and clicking on that, you can see those go away. I cannot leave this open like it is, so I need to rejoin, make a line that connects these two. I don't care what the line is, it's going to disappear in a moment anyway when I weld it, but this needs to be closed for the welding process to work properly. So I'm going to use my pick tool here and click and drag around these two nodes. They change color to solid. Up here in the toolbar, there is a button that says extend curve to close. And when I click on that, it draws a straight line. It closes that curve, as they now call it, since I've changed this to a curve instead of like a letter. So that one is taken care of. Let's move over here to the R, the E and the R. So I need to come back here. Let's see if I can get, yep, all right. If I click on the E, I can see that the tail of this is going up here. So I would, again, like to have all of this gone, and I will close it off in the R right here. So I'm going to take my pick tool and start up here to where I think it's close to the height of that node over here and select these guys. And I'm going to go back here and click on break curve and then delete those nodes. And then I want to join these two back together. So I take my pick tool and draw a lasso around those two and come up in the toolbar here and click on extend curve to close. Okay, it's looking great so far. The R is going to be okay, so I don't need to do anything there. The A, we're going to decide that I don't need this tail of the A here to continue on. I'm going to make it stop within the width of the T. So still with my pick tool selected, I'm going to click somewhere in there. So I see the nodes. I want to select all of this part of the tail. So I'm going to click high enough to where I can grab all of those and they light up. I'm again going to go up here and break the curve, delete the nodes, select these two that are remaining so that they are connected. Curve is connected, and that will work. Let's see here with the I. I guess with the T here that's sticking over here a little bit, let's take off this part so that the T is overlapping within the width of the I. So click on the T here. I'm just going to take off these. I'm going to select these nodes here on the end. Click and drag a lasso around those. I'll click on the break curve button or tool and then delete those. And again, with my pick tool, I'm going to select these two that are left on the end and join the curve so that it connects within the width of that I. Okay, the I then bends around and comes up into the O. I want to get rid of the tail here so that the I just disappears into the O down in here. So clicking on the I, I'm going to select, I could start over here and click and drag this way. I want to make sure I got all those. Yep, okay. Oops, I went too far. I need to stop down here. So I'm going to go up a little higher and come there. So we're going to select those guys, those nodes, click the break curve and delete them. As before, then with my pick tool, I'm going to lasso these last two and click on the extend curve to close button. Okay, let's see with the N here. the O is coming across the N and interfering with the top part of that. So let's get rid of this tail within and have it disappear into the N in this area. So click on the O, whoops, click on the O. And actually we could have it disappear into the N this whole distance here. So this one will let me show you. I can just move one of these nodes back. First of all, let's get rid of the part that we don't want. So I'm going to click and drag through that part to select those nodes. Click on the break curve. Get rid of those those nodes. I'm going to undo that for a moment. Okay, that's good. And then I'm going to redo. These two guys, I'm going to click and drag to select them. I'm going to extend the curve to close. Now this little guy is really close to the edge. I need to make sure he's well within the boundary, within the width of the end. So I notice that I still have both of these nodes selected. So I'm going to click away from them. And then this guy, I'm just going to move him inside the end. I don't care how this looks because it's going to disappear pretty soon. But I want to make sure that this part is well within the boundary of the N. And let's see, the final part here is the N as it comes in contact with the S. So we're going to click on the N. And I'm just going to decide that what part I need to get rid of is this group of nodes so that the N will disappear into the S. And that will be all. So select that, click on break curve, and click the delete nodes button. And then with my pick tool, I'm going to select those two again. And as before, I'll click on the extend curve to close button. All right, we're getting closer to the weld step. But before I do that, I need to do one other step yet. If I click on the pick tool, for example, if I click on the O, you'll notice that the inside of the O also is selected. And in the welding process, you don't want the interior portions of letters to be welded. It won't work right for you. So what I need to do with this letter is to break apart the pieces of that O. I could find that on this toolbar, or if I go back up here to Object, I can find it there as well. Break curve apart, or the keyboard equivalent is Control K. So I'm going to click this break apart button. And what the advantage of that is if I click away from that and then come back and click on the O again, now you see I only get the outer portion of the O. I need to do the same thing with the letter E because the E has an interior part. And so I click on the E and I break it apart. And to double check, if I click off of that, if I click on the letter E, you see now only the outside portion is selected. I need to do that with the letter A as well. So I'm going to click on the A, and I can see it both are selected. When using the pick tool, you can see the node selection there. And if I click on the shape tool, you'll see all of the nodes are selected. So I can only choose this tool to break it apart if I'm using the pick tool. So don't try to separate these using the shape tool. You have to use the pick tool. Okay, so now the menu changes, the toolbar changes. I can click on the break apart. And now if I click off of that, click away from it, and click back on it, you can see I just got the outer edge. The T is okay. The other letter I have to deal with an interior portion is this letter O. So again, I've selected the O. I'm going to click on the break apart tool. I click off of that, and now those two pieces are separated. All right, now I'm ready to weld. And what I need to do is now select all the outer lines, the outer curves of the letters, not the interior. So I'm going to start with the letter O. Click that out of that curve for the O. I'm going to hold my shift key down and click on the P. And I'm continuing. I'm just holding the shift key down and clicking. Click on the E, click on the R, click the A, click the T, click the I, click the O, click the N, and click the S. And now the magic will happen up here. The toolbar has changed to show me these options, one of which is the weld button, the weld command. And when I click on that, all of those overlaps disappear. And I have a nice clean connection to the letters where they're touching each other all the way around. And now if I bring color back to it, if I click black over here in the color bar, oops, now you see, this is great because this shows me one other step I need to make. So I'm going to undo that. When I did that, it filled that whole space. This outer piece now has become one solid object. But now I want the interiors of the letters to reappear. So what I need to do is join everything back together. So I want to make sure the whole word is selected. If it's not, I can click out around it and select all of the whole object. And up here in the toolbar, right next to the weld button, is the combine command, combine button. You can also find that again under the object menu. There's the combine command. So I'm going to click on that. And now it is picked up. You can see the little dots appear back on the interior pieces of the letters that were previously separated. So now if I click on the color fill, it shows you what the word looks like. I'm going to undo that to just emphasize. Now when you put this to the laser, for the laser to cut, the laser will cut out the interior parts of the letters first, and then it will go around the outer edge and cut out the entire word to finish it off. So that completes the process here with this word. how to move the letters together and remove the parts of the letter you don't want, so that when it's cut with a laser, you'll get a nice clean outer edge, and your design will look as you want it to look. So I hope this tutorial will help. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you very much.